Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of 5 Things That We Learned. The first in a while, actually, because Manchester City beat Liverpool last night 3-2 in the Carabao Cup, and it was very, 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 very satisfying to witness. I was dreading this game, I'll be honest with you, but this was a refreshing return to competitive football for Manchester City Football Club, and there was, of course, loads and loads of talking points, and I'm going to get into them all very, very soon. But first, I want to play this very quick clip from the latest episode of the playlist over on 𝐿888 Sport, talking Manchester City and Arsenal's title challenge.
Do you know what I was so close to doing? Arsenal top of the league. Was that? How mad was that? Because Abby, you gave me a look when I mentioned it when we were sort of deliberating that could kill. Is it that wild?
It's not that wild, but I can't bear the thought of living in a world where that happens. So I'm banking on them having their normal capitulation around February, March time.
You know, I will say why it might not be wild. Every single season, we always discuss this. I mean, you go back and forth, and we always say to win this league, you got to get 100 points. Like to guarantee you winning the Premier League, it's 100 points. I don't think it's that this season.
No.
And so it might be 90.
Yeah, which
they're capable of doing. We know City will do it. City can go on that run. Trust me, as a Liverpool fan, we won 15 in a row, 15 games in a row, and I'm thinking we're going to get them. And they win 16 in a row.
Yeah.
They just find a way, and they've had Haaland, who's not been at the World Cup, ready to go. He's almost been in the lab, waiting, anticipating the start of the Premier League again.
So, of course, got to side with Manchester City here, and I've got to side with Addy as well. I do think Arsenal, as good as they have been, are due some kind of blip, and it probably is going to come off the back of Gabriel Jesus' injury. It's so difficult to do what they do when you haven't experienced it before for such a long, intense period of time, and I do think Manchester City's experience will chase them down and will cause them problems, because I think City have got another level to go. And personally, I think Arsenal have reached their top level, and I think they're going to struggle to maintain it during those cold winter months when the title race gets intense and experience is needed. I might be wrong, of course, but that is how I feel. Go and check the video out in the description below, the full video over there, and let them know in the comments if it's going to be City or Arsenal. I can see arguments either way, but I've got to back my team. I've got to back the guys that have done it before having it, and I will carry on doing that. So, let's go into today's video. Let's talk about the first thing that I learned. And I've just put at the bottom, Rico's ready, because Rico is ready. To me, last night was Rico Lewis's coming-of-age game. I say that, and he's only 18 years old, and he's already been great against Chelsea and Sevilla, amongst other games. But last night was so impressive for a plethora of reasons. It wasn't just the fact that he was so technically astute, the fact that he enabled Manchester City to play out from the back so comfortably. It wasn't just the fact that he was so tenacious in the way that he closed down Liverpool. He pressed from the front, constantly nicking the ball off very, very high quality players, despite being one of the smallest, if not the smallest players on the pitch. It wasn't just that. It wasn't just the fact that he's so young and being so brilliant. It was the fact, for me, that he did it against Liverpool as well. Guardiola will be buzzing to witness Rico Lewis be as reliable and as fantastic against royalty in football. He was absolutely not fazed at all by any stretch of the imagination against some of the world-class players he was up against last night. Seeing him chase down Salah and be so composed and deal with it so brilliantly, look, it was wonderful, wonderful stuff. And it says everything about Rico Lewis. Like, it doesn't matter the size of the challenge in front of him, he will rise to it. And he's only 18. He's only 18 as of about a month ago. Like, honestly, seeing a young Manchester City fan, another one, make themselves so viable and clearly a member of the first team, well, to me, that is exciting. That really is exciting. I love it. I absolutely love it. And Rico clearly is going to the top of football. And last night was the kind of game where I think finally, he made himself clearly an option for Manchester City. He made himself a first team member, not just some academy prospect. He showed Guardiola that he can trust him when the going gets tough. He can trust him in big games. And he isn't some young lad that he's got to stand there and tell what to do throughout the 90 minutes. Rico's ready, man. He's ready to be a part of this first team squad, and he is part of this first team squad now. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. And to me, that is just as exciting as any fancy transfer. A young academy player breaking through. I want a local lad, a City fan. It's incredible. As was I put Rodrigo. It's a bit, you see what I'm trying to do. I tried to compound Fernandinho with Rodri, because last night as brilliant as Rodri's game was, where he was fantastic in winning the ball and getting assists and all this kind of stuff and being so great and graceful on the ball as he always is, the thing that really impressed me last night about Rodri was actually the physicality to his game. Last night, Rodri bullied Liverpool, and he also had that Fernandinho-esque way of sort of getting away with a couple of like slightly stroppy moments, and I really appreciated that. He was willing to leave his foot in a little bit and maybe stand up and push Liverpool back when they scissor challenged him, He was physical, I can't deny it. But so are Liverpool, and if you give it out, you get it back. And I really loved how last night you saw elements of like the dark arts that Fernandinho mastered to a T. And if you can get in the referee's ear as well, like I think we've got a future captain here. I really do. I know people talk about Gundogan and KDB and Ruben Diaz. But for me, Rodri is quietly becoming a massive leader for this Manchester City side, and I love it. I think he's world class, the best defensive midfielder in the world, and last night he was imperious and he bullied them. King KDB, it's an obvious one, but I got to talk about it. Post the Belgium, debacle at the World Cup, people talked an awful lot about whether he's not going to find his form again and whatever. People were a bit concerned, but you could tell last night that KDB was buzzing, absolutely buzzing to be back at Manchester City and play alongside confident players and organised players in a brilliant team. This is where he feels at home. Manchester City feel at home for KDB. Is where he feels at home for KDB. I got tongue-tied there. Manchester City is his home, is what I meant to say. Last night he was wonderful. He could have had 5 assists. I'm not exaggerating. There were some crosses that he did last night. Like some people, that would have been a highlight reel for their season last night. Some of the quality of the crosses that he made. He ended up with 2 assists, but there should have been more. Particularly one from very deep for Ake. Eventually Ake got his goal, but the one from really deep, man. Like when he found it, like it was just. I don't know how he managed it. It was mesmeric, the quality of the cross. But that was KDB last night. He was determined to be the best player on the pitch, and he probably managed it as well. So impressive. But that's KDB, isn't it? A special footballer doing special things. And I love the hunger in his game last night as well. There was loads of hunger, but that's KDB for you. A wonderful player. And to me, look, he could be the one that drives us on now towards the end of the season. He could drive us on to win the league, hopefully, with a little bit of luck. I love the guy. A wonderful player, as is Ake. Look, now, I think Ake's worth talking about because I think he was really impressive last night in this sort of like left back stroke left centre back role that he played. He got a goal, of course, which is really nice, and he got forward really well, and he's always a danger from crosses. But I was really impressed personally by Ake's just overall game and maturity as a Manchester City player. Like I think the conversation's moved on so much from Ake. It's no longer he's a £40 million flop. It's more he's a £60-70 million player now that most teams would kill to have. Ake has been brilliant for Manchester City now for some time, and I love watching his game develop so clearly under Manchester City's ways. And to me, it's going to be important because we found out yesterday Ruben Diaz is now out for a month, so Ake is going to get more chance to play in this defence. And he's probably the most closest we've got until Diaz's kind of defensive game, really. So he's going to get more and more games, and he's going to deserve it as well. I love Nathan Ake. I think he's a wonderful person as well as a wonderful player, and you need more people like him on your team. Great people as well as great players, and versatile, committed, and I bet he's glad he stayed. I bet he's glad he stayed because he's had a great start to the season. And finally, I was really impressed by Cole Palmer personally. I thought there was loads of promise for his performance last night. Maybe it wasn't the standout performance like Rico Lewis had or whatever, and maybe he's still waiting for his real announcement performance, but he's quietly been there in this team, learning how to be a senior footballer while also taking one for the team, so to speak. Cole Palmer is, without a doubt, in my personal opinion, a right winger. He should be on the right where Riyad Mahrez plays, but because Riyad Mahrez exists, he's been playing anywhere but in that position, and that's difficult for a young player. It's difficult for a young player, one, to get in the team full stop, but then to get in the team and play a role that you're not familiar with and probably goes against all your natural instincts as a left winger. That is hard, but yet he's still improved on that capabilities that he's got. I thought last night was his best game as a left winger. And I was very impressed by the quality that he showed, the awareness that he showed, the variety to his game, and the fact that he's clearly worked out how to dribble from that side. When you're a right winger, like Mahrez is, like Palmer is, you have the game all at set angles. You're always cutting in, you're always on your strong foot, and you can see the whole pitch naturally, and you know how to make those passes. When you're suddenly all over the other side of the pitch, it can be very difficult to adapt your game, and find out where those angles should be and how to play your your game because you can't shoot as well because you're not cutting in and curling towards the far post. It's just difficult. Yeah, still last night I thought you had the beating of Milner. He had some really nice kind of maintaining of possessions. He got forward well, a couple of nice dribbles. He looked a little bit like a Di Maria kind of left winger, and I really appreciate that to his game. I still don't think he is going to be a left winger or a midfielder. He will be a right winger eventually when Mahrez moves on, but I think last night was a really promising and mature performance from a very young player. They are 5 things that I learned from the game last night, guys. Do let me know down in the comments what you made of it. I loved Manchester City being back in action. It was great fun, and I can't wait for the game next week now in the Premier League. It was good fun, man. It was really good fun. And City are a very impressive team, as we know. And last night, we bullied Liverpool. Watch the match reaction. Let me know down in the comments what you think of these thoughts that I had. Go check out the latest 888 Sport, the playlist episode, and let me know, of course, what you made of this video in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a big old like, and I'll catch you soon for another video in a bit.